Hey guys, what is going on? Redmaster here, and welcome back to another episode of the Known Combo series, where today we are going to be looking at a knight deck that I think, well, I actually haven't titled it by the time I'm making this intro. I'll probably find some catchy title other than just the standard, like, the Awakened deck. I might just keep it the knight deck to kind of keep it consistent with the whole known combos is more of a... Anyway, I'm getting off track here. We are going to be looking at a knight deck that does involve the Cleric, which kind of was, again, the motivation for making the deck, as well as Church, which is, proven to give some interesting results. And it is a fairly strong deck, I want to say. I wouldn't say it's like a 3K worthy deck. It might be if I had, actually took the time to grind it through rankings, but regardless, I'm going to show you guys the deck list, show you what's kind of going on inside the deck. Then we're going to take a look at two pre-recorded matches that I had done. This was after I had ranked the deck, of course, so you guys might already caught these games on the TV. And then we'll hop into a live match to, again, further demonstrate the deck. But with the pre-recorded matchups, I do want to, expand with that more. So do let me know how that format is, if you guys think it does need improvements. I am trying to improve on it here and there, but I still might be off. So when, when that happens, let me know how I did, at least with the pre-recorded matches and me commentating over them again in that comment section down below. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into the deck list and show you guys what we have going on for this interesting knight deck. So here's the deck list for what I'm now calling the Holy Knight deck. Throw that little name in between these recordings. But again, you can actually see the inclusion of Church and Cleric, sort of like the I don't want to call them the main focus of the deck. But it's something that I think definitely sets this deck apart from the other, I guess, knight decks that you might find. The power of Church and Cleric in terms of, like, stalling in your late game, or at least giving you that extra edge in health over some other units, is really kind of crucial to where this deck succeeds. And pairing with everything else kind of works really well and creates this really nice red-yellow knight deck. So as you can see here, Cleric's not the only knight we're running in this. Obviously, if it's a knight-based deck, we've got Earth Knight, Questing Knight, Knight of Flowers, Dragon Knight, Headless Horseman, and Swordsman to go along with that Cleric. All great knight cards in their own right, each having sort of a reason for being in there. Except maybe Earth Knight. Earth Knight's kind of just there, chilling. I do find that he's a great counter to, the standard cards you might see in the early game. Obviously, Lumberjack, possibly a counter to Salahar Rider as well, even though her last will can bounce off and, of course, hit the Earth Knight. But Salahar, there's a chance for her not to completely take out the Earth Knight, so there's a benefit there. But then again, you can argue Question Knight can do that same thing. But Earth Knight, I think just the armor is useful to block any sort of one-chip damagers that come out in the opening stages of a match. But anyway, going apart from that, the reason why we are carrying so many knights in here is, of course, to be able to have a supply for a Luminaris strike. Luminaris is, of course, your main AoE spell of the deck, and it's good to carry at least 2 in here. I don't recommend maxing it out at 3. I think 2 is a very good place for Luminaris, because you don't want to sit with a Luminaris in your hand not being able to use it, because that could definitely hurt you in, when you're playing. But to go along with the absence of maxed out Luminaris, I do carry 2 Arcanon in here as well. I find Arcanon's been becoming one of those more tricky cards that you find in more Warlock decks on the ladder, because of it, it's pretty good. It's pretty strong. Obviously, the ability to redirect any spell cards, not to mention the lifesteal that it has, is really, really tough to get around. And if you think about it, you could also Luminaris a random target. So if you have a knight out and you can Luminaris right in the enemy base, that's a very, very successful Luminaris strike for you. So think about that when you're sort of, or if you're deciding to not run Arcanon, think about that when you're just kind of picking it. But anyway, moving on from that, I think the rest of the deck kind of speaks for itself in terms of the other content. It's really just good stuff from here on out. Obviously, burns in the form of Defective Flame Cannon and Blue Firebolt. The Lumberjack for early draw, Blacksmith and Armory for global buffs. Not opting to go stables here, as you noticed. Even though I do run a lot of knights here, I don't want to go stables because I'd rather have the global buff rather than just limiting the buff for certain archetypes. Even though the armor is a neat thing to have, Armory's going to do much better because it gives my other units like Pegacorn, Kraxus, and Arcanon, who are not knights, that extra +1/+1, which goes a long way in the matches. Anything else that I'm missing? Oh, well, probably obviously Arbiter's Return and Kraxus, you guys already know. That's sort of the Crusader good stuff that really can't go, or can't not be in any deck right now. Pegacorn as well to, maneuver around the Warlock decks that are out there right now. And Divine Knowledge, I think, just for the aspect of draw, the +2 with the 3 gold, I think is very useful to have, especially when you have that extra gold, not knowing what to do with it. Don't want to waste it, of course, get that little draw going with the Divine Knowledge. So, with that being said, I think that covers most of the deck in terms of its contents. But now let's go ahead and show you guys the pre-recorded matches before we get into the live matches, because I think the pre-recordeds are definitely going to pique your interest, because those were some great matches. Alright, so our first match was against a name that I can't really pronounce too well, but I'm going to call him Het for now, just to keep it simple. We're going to go ahead and start this off. I have a couple of Lumberjacks in my hand, as you can see, so I'm going to go ahead and summon those. I do want some early draw, and to see what else I can get. There's no point in really me holding these Lumberjacks in these early stages. He has to throw a Salahar Rider. I'm going to make this trade because I know I can heal that damage later with the massive amount of heals I'm carrying, Church, Cleric, and Arbiter's Return. So I'm going to throw another Lumberjack to, get some even more draw, because the Pegacorn is nice, but it's not really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a couple of early Knights that really start throwing out and seeing if I can tempt him to see what he's got going on. At this point, though, he throws it in all Lumber and a Merchant Estate, so I can tell he's going with a Greed deck. So we're going to trade Lumbers, because I do want, again, that extra draw going. I'm going to summon a Knight of Flowers, though, because I know he can't really directly burn it, and I want to start really threatening his face here. He's got a couple more gold to work with, but he's going to throw out another Lumberjack and the School of Knowledge. The School is going to get me worried a bit, but I do carry that Defective Flame Cannon in my hand for a reason. I'm going to opt to play that to get rid of that School of Knowledge. I don't want it to, give him some extra draw here. I'm going to chip away at his Lumberjack right there, and then to follow up, I'm going to move my Earth Knight forward. So I'm really going a bit aggressive here with these Knights. I want to kind of push to see what I can really tempt at ahead here. He opts to throw a Troll Gunner, which isn't really the smartest play, but he does move it back, which, I can respect that. It does give him a bit more time to protect that Troll Gunner. I have no way of dealing with that myself, so I'm going to, of course, throw a Pegacorn and then destroy Merchant Estate as well to kind of stop his gold flow here. He's going to use that Troll Gunner, though, with the Armory to take out my Pegacorn. That's really all he can do, because the Armory was, again, most of his gold. I'm going to throw a Blacksmith to amp up my guys a little bit more here. Lumberjack as well. I don't know why I drew the third one, but I did. So I'm going to go ahead and chop down his Armory and weaken his Troll Gunner a bit more. So now his Troll Gunner is facing a threat from all three of those units, Earth Knight, Lumberjack, and Knight of Flowers. He opts to take out the strongest one, which is respectable, but now his weaker one is going to die. I'm going to go ahead and move those units down to avoid that Troll Gunner range and push a Swordsman up. I do have the Luminaris in my hand, as you can see here. So that Luminaris is kind of what I'm going for here. Regardless of if that Troll Gunner takes out my Earth Knight, my Lumberjack, or my Swords, or I really was hoping he couldn't take out the Swordsman and the Earth Knight, because then I can Luminaris pretty much whatever he had left on the board to follow. Let's go ahead and see how he responds. He's got 8 gold now, which does give him the Mercenary's Execution, so there actually goes my Swordsman, but he doesn't actually take out he doesn't take out my Earth Knight as well. So I don't play the Luminaris, of course, in response to that, because I know that just Luminarising an a Troll Gunner, is not going to be worth it. I don't want to, I don't want to just Luminaris the castle and Troll Gunner and have the Troll Gunner survive at that, so it wouldn't really be worth it. So again, I'm going to opt to draw instead here, see what else I've got going on. Swordsman and a Horseman. I play one of the 2 Horsemen, which does clip the Troll Gunner, which is nice, so that way our next Luminaris will be able to kill that, and then I go ahead and chop down his castle a bit more, both with the Lumberjack and the Earth Knight, and see what I can get at, from him as well. He Troll Gunners my Earth Knight, which is very nice. Dragon Sword plus Swordsman, that'll kill off my Lumberjack, and then it goes back to me. So again, I still don't want to lose. I still don't want to use the Luminaris here because I don't really think it's going to be worth it. Okay, never mind. Sometimes I forget my own moves here, so I can't reach the Troll Gunner with this though. But given my options, I guess this is the only thing I really had to do. I could have reinforced my board, but that Swordsman did get me nervous, so. Yeah, it's kind of funny how I lined up. I'm not gonna play the Luminaris, and then I end up playing the Luminaris. I did realize I had nothing else to do, so I guess I had to play it. And of course, that's gonna get me to take out a swordsman because that is a decent threat. And then I move the questing knight up because I know his troll gunner can't reach me yet, and of course he's working with 9 health on his castle. He's got 12 gold though, which brings out one of the first big threats of the match, of course that being Dremoth the Eternal. It did get me a bit concerned because I didn't know how I was exactly going to take it down, but I'm going to head and opt to play a Church and Pegacorn, so currently all of my board could trade. I do trade the Question Knight as well. I don't want him to manipulate that and kill it off with a Troll Gunner or anything like that. I do give he puts out Merchant's Estate. He's going to chop down my my Pegacorn even further here, but then I do draw the Inspire, which is important. I'm not going to use it yet, but I am going to Cleric just to really heal up my castle, get it full health. And then I'm going to play a Horseman. That Horseman is going to snipe off the building. I did want to hit the Gunner, but then of course I'm going to finish off with the Inspire and see what kind of units I can draw. The Question Knight's going to be good, because if I do get a Luminaris again, I do have the tools to use, or to utilize that Luminaris. He plays the School of Knowledge, Merchant's Favor as well, so he's going to start a bit of a cycle here. Does play Robins as well. I'm going to be able to kill the Robins though, which is good. He'll get 5 gold though, so he does get another opportunity to play a card. He will play a Salahar Rider and another Dragon's Horde. So I do think that was a slight mistake on his part using the Dragon's Horde, because I don't know how experienced he was with the school deck, but that wasn't going to get him more cards if that's what he was thinking. But he does have a lot of gold next turn. It's going to be over 19 gold next turn, but he's only going to have about 2 extra cards in his hand. So I really think it might have been better for him to at least save that Dragon's Horde unless he's got another Dremoth. But let's go ahead and see how I react to that. I'm going to play my Inspired, which I just drew, so I want to get even more soldiers to my hand. I do get the Scout, which I'm going to opt to play against the Salahar Rider. I didn't want to throw anything else out because anything else, well, except maybe the Question Knight would have died, but I did want to save the Question Knight for Luminaris. But I do realize the importance of that School of Knowledge, so I'm going to try and bring off my Question Knight to kind of bring that school down. He's got 19 gold though, so he does murder my Question Knight, realizing that he doesn't really have a way to deal with it. But then again, here's where things started to really hurt him. Excuse me there. Like I said before, he should have been able to Dragon's Horde, or he should have Dragon's Horded this turn. That way he would have gotten more draw out of the School of Knowledge, but he ended up wasting about, like I said, it's 12 gold right there that kind of just went to waste. Not the best thing for any sort of school player to let gold, waste like that, but, I mean, there's nothing really else that he could have done, I guess. The draw really didn't, I guess, turn out well in his favor here. We're going to get into double draw right now, or at least, sudden death, I mean. I'm going to throw out an armory to reinforce my scout a bit so it won't really die that easily, or maybe I can take something else down with me. I'll also throw the Hassan City Guards, 1 to threaten the School of Knowledge, 1 to threaten face. We see that Church. Let's go ahead and pause right here, because I do want to mention, that Church. The Church is a very good stall card. As you can see, it healed up my castle to avoid that sudden death damage, so I do find that it is quite useful in that. This Church did help me stall through a lot of different games. It kept me alive in sudden death when I probably should have died many turns ago. But let's go ahead and see how I finish off this match. Because we are getting, of course, to the end of it. This is probably about 2 more minutes left in the matchup. He plays a Swordsman to counteract my Scout, plus Dagger Storm. He does snipe off my Hassan City Guard there, but I do get that heal on the castle. I do think the Dagger Storm was a good way to counteract Church's heal as well. Every time my Blacksmith would take damage, it does give a target for Church to heal. So that was a kind of, I don't know if he intentionally meant to do that, but it is an interesting note to point out that the Blacksmith's bleed is still counting as damage, which the Church heals, and it's away from castle. So I do need my double Church if I do want to survive, or if I do want to keep my castle at full health. I would need the double Church to come out at this point, but I don't have it, which is fine. I'm going to rush my Swordsman and Questing Knight, both reinforced by a Blacksmith Armory combination to be 6-8 and 5-4 respectively. He's taking a bit more damage there. He has 11 gold though. What can he do? He's going to cycle with the Merchant's Favors. and make that 2 cycles. So he does have 13 gold, a little more to work with. Mercenary Execution on my big swordsman, still with 6 gold to work with. He brings out a Southport Captain, which will survive my, which will kill, my Questing Knight if I were to hit it. But I do get that blue firebolt, right there, as you can see. I'm going to zap away that Southport Captain. We don't really need that in our way. And we are going to hit the castle for 5, plus a Luminara Strike, which takes down the buildings. And yeah, at that point, I think it should be over. In my mind, as I'm playing this live, I think, it's over. There's nothing he can do. But he brings out Hands of the Saint. So, yep, that's 10 health back to his castle, plus a Craxus. And Armory to go along with that will kill off my Questing Knight, get in some more draw. But he can't use anything right now, obviously, because he's got no gold left. So how do I end up responding to this? I am taking a bit more damage here. I am going to throw the Arcanon out, though, because it's not going to be able to get killed by Craxus very easily. And then, again, Questing Knight, simple as that. So, of course, with that, how does he respond to an Arcanon on the field? He's going to have to hit it with the Craxus, but I do get that lifesteal effect, of course, bringing him to 6-7. Tyrannosaur, Barbarian. He fears his Barbarian to my castle. That's okay, but I still have a lot of stuff on my board right now, and of course you can see more knights coming into my hand as the match goes on. Of course, I Arcanon his Barbarian away, bringing me to full health. Horseman on the Armory, and his T-Rex is now considerably weaker. I move in with my Questing Knight, Headless Horseman, Knight of Flowers, and an Arcanon. I kind of messed up that list there. But at that point, he kind of surrenders, knowing he has nothing else to do. So that was a really great first match. A lot of a lot of things happened there. The church stall you saw take into effect. Arcanon, how powerful he is and why he's in the deck. And the Knights and why I carry 2 Luminarises. So, but that's not all. We do have another match to get to, so let's go ahead and get into that right now. Alright, match number 2 going up against Ninja. No, not that one. We're not getting some Fortnite views here. At least, well, not now. But of course, we're going to open up this match with another Lumberjack. Because I do, of course, don't want to really waste the Lumberjack in my hand. I want to get some more draw going. I see that he was running the same colors as well as Het, so I can assume it's another greed-based deck. But of course, I'm going to chop away his castle right now, just because he can't really do anything to defend against me, which is an opportune moment for me to at least chip a little bit of his castle. He ends up playing a Con Artist, which is a really nice card. Of course, right now, I'm not going to, start the debate whether Con Artist or Southport Captain is the better card. But I do think Con Artist is a, decent card to carry in greed decks. It can do that combo greed, which might be just better than instant greed. But again, I'll leave that debate for another day. I blue firebolt the Con Artist away, though, because I don't want to deal with it. He throws out a Scout. I'm going to have to throw out the Cleric to respond to that. That will, of course, heal my Cleric up, though, if he decides to attack with the Scout. Just to be careful here. He does retreat, though, and I have to play the Barbarian, which is a decent counter, but I'm going to go ahead and retreat my Cleric back 1 space and throw out the Pegacorn. I'm going to do that now. I have to summon the Pegacorn first. There, of course, I'm hoping to really catch the Barbarian in a trade, but of course he ends up murdering my Pegacorn, which is good for him. And of course he just Barbarians my Cleric away without it being able to heal anything. So at this point he definitely has the advantage in the match. I'm going to go ahead and opt to play a Horseman, which will kill off the Barbarian. I'll get a little Inspire going for our next turn. I get a Guardian and a Shield Runner. And again, like I said, trade with the Barbarian to get it off of our face. He's still got that Scout, though, which is going to go ahead and chop our castle down. I'm going to play the Guardian, or he's going to play, 2 Guardians to go along with that. Not sure why he's running Guardian in the deck, but okay, it is something for me to respond to. So I'm going to opt to play a Shield Runner, and then the Guardian as well. So using my Inspire units here to end up clearing the board of that Scout. But he does have 2 Guardians moving forward, which does concern me. He's going to opt to play a Robins, though, which is a bold play. Definitely a lot of gold next turn. He's going to opt to kill off both of my Inspire units. Meanwhile, he does have 3 health on both of his Guardians. I'm going to play that Craxus, though. That Craxus did come in very handy for me. Of course, getting some draw and clearing those Guardians. And giving me some draw in the process. Even though he can pretty much clear my board right now. And we're going to see if he does do it. Blacksmith plus School of Knowledge. He's going to go ahead and Guardian my Craxus. And then he's gonna follow up the Robins, which does get him, of course, more gold to work with, plus another draw from the School of Knowledge. I do have a big stacked hand, though, thanks to Craxus, but he throws out one of his own, so he's looking to refill his hand. I'm gonna throw the Pegacorn, Earth Knight, I think. Yeah, okay, Earth Knight, and then Defective Flame Cannon, that School of Knowledge Way, 'cause again, I don't want to deal with it. But I am going to give him the option to get a bit more draw here by killing my Pegacorn. He's actually going to Mercenary Execution that Pegacorn away. And then, of course, hit my Earth Knight, which is something I didn't want to happen because it only went through his armor. So I didn't really do any damage to Krakus here. And then he also throws out the Merchant of State, getting some more gold next turn. So I'm definitely in a bit of trouble here. I throw out the Dragon Knight, and then plus the Armory. I don't know. It won't be able to really kill him, though, so I'm going to kind of body block instead. Plus an Inspire, draws Knight of Flowers, and Master at Arms. Alright, so I do retreat the Dragon's Knight, though, because I do have the Luminaris I kind of want to use for Kraxus. He's going to go ahead and opt to hit my castle, though. No additional draw, which I find strange, but he's also going to Arbiter Return as well, which does additional damage to my castle. He brought it down to 3 health, which is good. Good for him. He's able to really damage me there. So here's where I'm going to play the Luminaris. Of course, clear the board of that Blacksmith and Kraxus. Yep, as you can see there, took out the Kraxus. And then I opt to play a blue Firebolt to rid myself of that Tarius. Don't want him to get any extra draw or have to deal with any sort of ranged units. So we did clear the board, but we are quite down. And Arbiter's Return can finish me off, but it doesn't look like he has it. He throws a Scout and a Lore Master Tarius to respond to my Dragon Knight. So at that point, I move my Dragon Knight above there and pull off my second Luminaris Strike, which clears both his Scout, his Tarius, and does damage to his castle. And then, of course, the Divine Knowledge to draw that Arbiter's Return, which is very needed. I do need that to kind of reset myself here. He does play the Northland's Ranger, though, which does chip away my Dragon Knight, plus a Guardian, which, again, don't know why, but it's there. So at that point, I pretty much have to play the Arbiters at this point. I think I do. I do? Okay, so that's going to clear out the Ranger with the additional 1/1 from Armory. And of course, I throw the Question Net out to counteract that Guardian. I have the perfect amount for attack to get rid of the Guardian's 4 health. But now we are getting into sudden death here. I am still down in castle health, so he does play an Armory plus Lumberjack to clear out my Question Net, plus getting some draw for him as well, so that's good and dandy. But that's really all he can do, unfortunately, which might have been where he started to fall off. I play the Church as well, because I want to start getting some heals going, plus Arcanon, so even if he has burn spells, it's going to be redirected via Arcanon. And then you could see I'm avoiding the sudden death damage by healing with my Church. He now has 11 gold, which applies another Arbiter. He does target the castle, because he wants to kind of take it down, doesn't want me to have any sort of life on my castle. But instead, with that, he does leave his castle open, which I'm going to go ahead and Arcanon on his face, which is very devastating, plus a Knight of Flowers. Make that, and well, I thought I was going to summon 2, but I do. Okay, so I summon the Cleric first because I can. But I do surround my castle in fear of another possible Arbiter's Return. I don't want that coming out and hitting me. He does have a Ranger, which is able to perfectly take out my Arcanon, so props to him for doing that. We did leave that Ranger open, which is going to be a downside. I do draw another charge, as you can see there, and I'm able to Blacksmith and Armory, actually, which I think is my plan here to take out that Ranger. Do I do it? I think, yeah, I do. I just play the Church first to get that double heal. And, of course, I Blacksmith as well, so now I can perfectly take out that Ranger, bring my castle up 4 health to 9. And, of course, that Church is going to double heal my castle to 11. So, basically took no damage right there from that Arbiter. I've negated that Arbiter damage. Meanwhile, he's still falling off bit by bit. He has to Mercenary Execution my Knight of Flower there. Then, of course, he throws out a Barbarian to reinforce his presence. He's, kind of nervous now. Because, obviously, I'm starting to heal up and, get even higher than sudden death can take me out with. So Master at Arms, Headless Horseman, the Headless clips the armor as you saw there, and now moving all my forces to kind of push for damage. He is taking more castle damage though, which is good for us. He murders my Blacksmith to weaken my attack a little bit, but no matter. Arbiter's Return, he realizes the threat of Church and he gets rid of at least one of them, which is fine. I do have a second one though, so I am still technically negating sudden death. I'm just not gaining additional health, which is fine. But he does leave his side of the board open to my units. Of course, I charge him with Knight of Flowers, Master at Arms, and Headless Horseman, plus Kraxus. And do I throw the Lumberjack out or Questing? I go Questing. I want to go more aggro here, so I go Questing because Questing is a bigger threat than Lumberjack. But he's still taking damage. He did heal a bit with that Arbiter's Return, though, but he doesn't really have much left. Blacksmith comes out. Southport comes out. Southport kills off the Headless Horseman, as you can see there. Southport as well to count, or at least try to counteract that Master at Arms up there. scout and to actually finish that master, and that'll be the turn. But at this point, that math kind of adds up to be the game ender here. As you can see, 7, 6, and 5 on 16. 6 knocks it down to 10, 5 knocks it down to 5, and 7 to end off the castle. So that was pretty much a way, if you didn't think Church was a great stall tactic before, in the first match, it definitely came through here. Being able to basically heal up past sudden death damage was very crucial for how I came back with that game, and the fact that he couldn't really, unfortunately, push any sort of additional damage on me really hurt him in the end there. But again, I was really happy with how that deck turned out in those 2 matches. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into a live match and see if the Holy Knight deck can work as well as it did in this or in these 2 matches. Alright, opening hand, let's get rid of that Craxus, we're not going to need that anytime soon. Headless Blacksmith, Defective Flame Cannon, and Arcanon to start us off. Alright, not bad, not bad. Going up against Warlock Druid, so I can expect some kind of Hyper Rush, potentially. There's a Peasant. I think we're just going to take the Peasant damage. We are going to take the Peasant damage. Yikes. Alright, that's a Super Peasant. Wonderful. Alright, so this is definitely some kind of Hyper Rush deck. Yikes. I think I'm just gonna have to do this. Alright, that's a rough start. Didn't expect that. But that's why we carried the churches. So let's hope maybe we can draw one of those. Hey, buddy. Alright then, I see you. Let's get a little castle heal going on then. Even though that's going to completely destroy my cleric. Tuh. That's alright. I don't expect him to power it up, so... Psych, maybe I'm wrong. Nope, alright. Oh, he's really trying to burn me. Alright. Please let this hit a unit. Fair enough. We'll hit that. Alright, what do you got? Anything else? This is a fast burn match. I think this match is going to be over quicker than you can say Aunt Jemima. People don't say Aunt Jemima like that. Blacksmith to block here because he's going for face damage. You just kind of have to stall him at this point. Once you get Arcanon out, though, that's going to be the big play here. Because if we get Arcanon, then his damage spells will be redirected. You won't, just do it. Just touch my Blacksmith. Not what I was expecting, but alright. I don't know what I was expecting. Damn. Alright, Arcanon comes out. Now let's hope those burn spells redirect to his own castle. Let's see if that's the case here. Or it might help him depending on if he's got those blue fire bolts. Nope. Alright. We'll do a little bit of... Oh. Alright then. That was a fast match. Fast match. I guess that kind of evens out, though, based upon the time. I mean, we did have those 2 matches on TV, so I guess that live match kind of helps even out the video in terms of length. Don't want it to be over an hour long, because that'd be a lot of content. But, I guess that wouldn't be bad. But still, I think that was a interesting demonstration show, at least. Kind of shows the healing potential, why we carry the clerics anyway, and why we carry Arcanon, even though I think at that point he just gave up because he knew his direct damage wouldn't be able to really cut it. So... oh, and there he is again. So let's go ahead and temporarily, I apologize for doing that, but we're just going to transition to the outro here. And with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of the Known Combo series. Let me know what you guys think of the Holy Knight deck in the comment section below. Be sure to give the video a like, though, and share with your friends before you leave that comment, though. And while you're down there making those comments, be sure to click that subscribe button. Help show your support to the channel and help us grow all by clicking that subscribe button at no additional cost to you. So with that being said, that's going to do it for me for now. So until next time, guys, stay gaming.